Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We begin with Allah's blessed name, the one God. We praise Him and we glorify Him as He ought to be praised and glorified. And we pray for peace and for blessings on all His noble messengers, and in particular on the last of them all, the blessed Prophet Muhammad. And I greet all of you with a greeting of peace wherever you are. Our Hindu viewing audience, our Christian viewing audience, our Jewish viewing audience, and even those who do not adhere to any particular religion, but who wish to live lives of integrity and of honesty, and who don't like lies and don't like to be ripped off. Before we commence our talk for today, let me take a minute to make an announcement, and that is that the next 3 weeks I will be traveling, so this is a pre-recorded lecture, and we will therefore not be having any question and answer session. However, I am going to use the time to answer the large numbers of questions I've been getting on my email and also on YouTube when the lecture was placed on YouTube. So your questions are going to be answered, inshallah. So this is for the next 3 weeks. After that, on the 12th of March, we will then recommence the live sessions when you can call in. But if you're living outside of Trinidad and Tobago, please don't call from outside. Please send me an email. Unless you do not have email, then you can call in by telephone, okay? On the 12th of March, therefore, we will recommence our live broadcasts at 8 o'clock in the morning. If you're in Malaysia, it'll be 8 o'clock at night. If you're in Pakistan, it'll be about 5 in the afternoon. If you're in Iran, about 3 in the afternoon. If you're in France, about 1 in the afternoon. If you're in Britain, maybe lunchtime, and so on. On the 12th of March, we'll have another session, which will not be live. It'll be at 10 in the morning. So I'm going to have to drive back down very quickly to San Fernando after the broadcast here. It will be the launching of my book, which will soon be on the screen, the methodology for the study of the Quran. I have it here with me, the methodology for the study of the Quran, but you'll also see it on the screen. This launch will be at the San Fernando Jama Masjid, which is on Mucurapo Street. It's close to the San Fernando market, and we have adequate parking for everybody. Your car will be safe there, and you are welcome. All are welcome. Hindus are welcome. Christians are welcome. Anybody can come to the launch of this book at 10 o'clock in the morning. We're not going to have many speeches. The book will be on sale at a discount price, but more importantly, I get a chance to meet with you and to chat with you on that Sunday morning. We have the whole morning from 10 o'clock, as long as you want. I'll be there with you. So do please come so I can meet with you wherever you are in Trinidad or even in Tobago. Come and join me on Sunday, the 12th of March at 10 o'clock at the Jama Masjid in San Fernando on Mucurapo Street, which is close to the Market Square, at 10 o'clock in the morning for the launch of my book, The Methodology for the Study of the Quran. If you're Hindu, I welcome you. If you're Christian, I'm welcoming you. All those who are opposed to oppression, I welcome you all. We now attend to some of the questions which have been posed to me by email. Let's first take those that came by email. This one is from Mumbai in India. And he asks, I'm not going to mention your name. No, keep your name private. I'll just mention the city and I'll mention the country. So Mumbai in India. And his question is, if all paper money will soon collapse, how will gold and silver coins be of any help at that time? Who will take my gold and silver coins if I want to buy stuff, something called stuff? What should be the weight and what should be the purity of gold and silver coins if I want to buy them? My answer to you is every sensible and intelligent person does not want to be ripped off. No. A sensible and intelligent person wants to preserve his wealth, does not want to lose his wealth. And this is why the Chinese are showing such intelligence. I told you there are probably millions of coin machines all over China, where the Chinese can go and buy gold and silver coins from a machine. Yes. And keep them in order to preserve and protect your wealth. What happens when paper money collapses? Well, don't you realize what just happened in your country? When your prime minister and his government betrayed the Hindu religion? There is integrity. I'm certain that in the Vedas, I'm not a scholar of the Vedas, there are others who are scholars of the Vedas, and they will come forward and they will point out to you where in the Vedas and where in the Upanishads there is a requirement, a religious requirement to show integrity in business, to be honest in business, where there is a requirement not to rip off people, not to steal. All of these things are there in religion, in the Hindu religion, of course. So then why is the government of India betraying the Indian people? Why are they ripping them off? Why are they oppressors? Yes, the government of India is now an oppressor. That is the truth. When they did what they did so mysteriously and clandestinely maybe 2 months ago, in demonetizing the two biggest currency notes in India, the 1,000 rupee note and the 500 rupee note, and lots of people suffered. They are poor, they are people who have no voices, so we don't hear of how they were ripped off, but they were ripped off because they could not get their money exchanged for smaller notes. They didn't pay taxes or anything on it, small amounts of money. And when they went to change the money to get it, change the smaller notes, so they don't have a bank account and these things, these poor innocent people are ripped off. Why did the government do that? Well, we were told it's because of black money. Well, first of all, I never knew there was something called black money. I didn't know black was a bad color. I didn't know that black was a bad color. What a terrible thing, the language that they use. Now they come and they tell us something else now. They tell us that they want everybody to enter into the electronic or digital monetary system. Well then, let the Hindu scholar tell us. First of all, is paper money legal based on the Hindu religious beliefs? Is electronic and digital money legal in the religious sense of the word? When the Hindu scholar is finished, he will tell you what the Muslim is telling you, and what the Christian will tell you, that no, it's bogus, it's fraudulent. In our language, it's haram. So you're being ripped off. And when you cannot exchange your money for something which is a substitute, it has to be put into an account, and it's now invisible and intangible money. You can't see the money, you can't touch it, you can't take it out. Your money is imprisoned. Is that what you want to go to? This is why we're telling you to get gold and silver. When your money is in a bank account and it's only electronic money and you cannot take it out of the account, all that you can do is to transfer from one account to another, nothing more than that. then your money is imprisoned. They can freeze your bank account anytime they want. They make the law. They change the law. They can do it. And when they freeze your bank account because you have a wrong name, or they check your emails and they say you're a terrorist, or this or that or the other, that's it. That's it. They might say, well, we have your account under investigation, and 5 years will pass and it's still frozen. What can you do? Don't come to complain to me at that time. Or they can seize the money in your account. Have they done that before? Yes. I told you Argentina froze every single bank account in the country for a whole month. Don't you know about that? They can freeze your bank account, and they could also take money from your account without your permission. This happened already. Please do your homework, check it out on the internet, and you'll see. So then what do? You don't want your money to be held hostage. That in order for your money to be safe in that account, you've got to bow your head down and say, yes, they're speaking the truth about 9/11. That I will never allow on my television station, I'll never allow on my radio station, I'll never put in my newspapers anything which challenges the official explanation of 9/11, because I want to be able to continue to hold my money. These are not human beings, these are rats. They have the integrity of a skunk. They're not men. A man would stand up for the truth, regardless of the price he has to pay. But the media today they have the most dishonest people on the face of the earth. That's what I said about the media. That is what I said about the media. They're the most dishonest people on the face of the earth. So there are people like that who will allow themselves to be rolled over and stand up at the line and say everything that the master wants them to say. They're slaves. Then their bank account will be safe. But the rest of us who want to live lives of religious purity and religious integrity, the Hindu wants to be an honest man, a truthful man, a man of integrity. The Christian wants to be an honest and a truthful person of integrity, holding on to the truth and justice. The Muslim wants the same thing. So those of us who are on this side of the fence, we are not rats, we are not skunks. We want to be people of integrity. We want to be able to point to their faces and say to them, there are three kinds of lies. There are ordinary lies, and then there are great lies, and then there's 9/11. We want to be people who stand up like men and not bow down like slaves. These are the people whose money in the bank are going to be in peril. The rest are just dust on the highway of life. They're less than a footnote on the pages of history. But the great leaders of India, the men whose names are inscribed in gold, they stood up for truth and for integrity. Yes, the great men of Christianity, of Hinduism, of Islam, are people who stood up for the truth. And it is when you stand up, not when you sit down, when you stand up that your bank account will be in peril. So if you're amongst those who just sit down with your radio station and you will never, never, never question 9/11, that is your standard of integrity, then your bank account is safe. You don't have to worry. You're just a rat. Or worse than that, because you're betraying mankind. But the rest of us, we want to stand up for the truth. And we are the ones who now have to worry. So don't keep your money, all your money in a bank account. No. The gold and the silver will give you some protection because they can't seize it. You have it at home. They have to come with the police to take it from you. Come with the army to come and take it from you. But if you have it in an account, They can just wipe it out like that, and you have no more money. That's my answer to you. What should be the weight and purity of gold and silver coins if I want to buy them? I am not a specialist in that field, but I believe you cannot have a gold coin that is completely, totally pure, because it'd be too soft. You have to have some alloy in it to make it firm enough. So is it 99.9% gold or something like that? But you have to look on the internet and ask others who have more knowledge of the subject than I have. When I know something, I'll answer. When I don't answer. The next question from Toronto in Canada. What will be the role of the Imam al-Mahdi in the matter of gold and silver coins in the end time? You know, we in Islam, we say that the most important event yet remaining to occur in history is the return of the Son of Mary, the true Messiah, Jesus. And the Christian says the same thing. I'm sure in the Hindu scriptures you have something there in the Vedas and the Upanishads, but I'm not a scholar of Hinduism. But when Jesus is to return, there is someone else who is going to emerge with him. The Christian scriptures, I think, speak of him as the prince, the Jewish scriptures. But in our eschatology, he is known as the Imam al-Mahdi. And our Prophet said that he is going to share money. The Imam is going to share money because people are going to be desperately poor. Mankind would have been brought down to his knees in slavery by that time when Jesus returns. That's what's coming, slavery. And so he will share money to the people. What is he going to share? Is the Imam going to share Iranian riyals? I ask the Shia world. No, wake up. The Imam is not going to be sharing paper money, and there's no electronic money to share. He's going to be sharing gold and silver coins. So gold and silver coins are going to come back when Jesus returns. Okay, the next question is he's a Christian and he's from Australia. And he says, I am a Christian living in Australia. I find your views on Islamic eschatology very enlightening and refreshing. I was recently listening to your video on the signs of the times in which you spoke of money. And I want to thank you for your views and for your advice. You're most welcome, my brother from Australia. The next is from a place called Flensburg in Germany. Okay. If we convert all our currency to gold and silver coins, what will be the liquidity system? By liquidity system, what he means is what will be money to be used to buy and to sell, liquidity. How can I buy an item with a coin that is less, that costs less than 1 dirham? Well, first of all, the liquidity system tomorrow is electronic money, digital money, virtual money. If this was bogus, you take a piece of paper and you print a picture on it and you put a number on it and you give it a fictitious value, like monopoly money, and you call that money. And remember, your brother Imran has studied international monetary economics at 2 universities and written books on the subject. I know my subject. I'm not boasting. So if you can take a piece of paper and print a picture on it and put a number on it and give it a fictitious value, and you call that money and you expect us to believe that that is valid money, that has money with integrity in it, there are monetary economists who don't like the words integrity in money. I say to you, my brother, you got to go back to school. If you lose sight of integrity in anything, you are yourself with less than integrity in your own self. Mm. So if this is less, this has no integrity in it. It's bogus money. It's, in our language, it's haram. But our scholars in Islam, they don't study this subject, so you have to excuse them. Huh? If this is haram, well, then the electronic money is worse than that. It's more dangerous than the paper money. That's the liquidity system that's coming. The next question is, well, how can I buy something that costs less than a dirham? Answer, I was surprised in Indonesia. I visited Indonesia many times. And in Indonesia, they are minting gold and silver coins. When the people from Indonesia go to perform Hajj, I mean, they have some scholars amongst them. I don't know where are our scholars. They pay for their Hajj with dinars. The government gives them the dinars, and they use the dinar to pay for their Hajj. When you pay for your Hajj with bogus paper money, you think your Hajj will be accepted? Oh my, oh my, oh my. So I found that they have not only a dirham. A dirham is a silver coin which will be worth in, excuse me if you're outside of Trinidad, in our Trinidad and Tobago currency, I think a dirham would be about $20 TT. $20 TT. You can buy an avocado for $20 TT now. We call it a zabokao over here. A dirham is about a silver coin for about $20 TT. So that's about €4. Huh? If you want to buy a cup of tea, how can you pay with a dirham? You'll have to get some change. So in Indonesia, they've minted a half of a dirham, and a quarter of a dirham, and 1/6 of a dirham, small coins in silver. So you have the coins to be able to pay for your micro transactions. We can do that. There is a photograph of a machine. We'll be putting on the screen soon a photograph of a machine which can be used to mint a coin. And it can be built right here in Trinidad. It can be built in any country of the world by someone who is good in machinery. And with that, you can mint it, okay? The smaller coins and the bigger coins. The next question is from Durban in South Africa. And he asks, where can I buy dirhams? I don't know. If you are in Cape Town, you can get it from my students because I told you they're minting dirhams in Cape Town. And my students in Durban might also be doing it by now. So if you send me an email, I will try to put you on to them where you can buy dirhams in Durban and in Cape Town. The next question from Bulgaria. I am from Bulgaria. You have mentioned Bulgaria sometimes in your lectures. Please explain to the Bulgarian Christian people that Islam is not oppression. They hate us in Bulgaria. So this is from a Bulgarian Muslim. They hate us in Bulgaria because of Ottoman rule, the so-called Ottoman, the so-called Islamic Ottoman Empire, which oppressed the Christians of that part of the world for 600 years, waging bogus jihad, like the jihad that you now have in Syria and the jihad that you had in Libya. I call them the Yankee jihad. You know who provides the weapons? State-of-the-art weapons? Yes, it's Santa Claus. Santa Claus. You know who provides all the US dollars? It's Santa Claus doing it. You know who gives all the training and so on? It's Santa Claus doing it all. I call that a jihad. Where you go to fight in that so-called jihad to overthrow the government of Syria, and as you did in Libya, and you die, Imran Hosein will not pray over your body. And Imran Hosein will never stand at your grave, and you can put that in your pipe and smoke it. So please explain to the Bulgarian people that Islam is not oppression. They hate us because of Ottoman rule. The same thing in India. You had a bogus Ottoman Empire saying that it is Islamic and waging jihad, bogus jihad on the Christian people for 600 years in order to sabotage a Muslim-Christian alliance in the end time. They did the same thing in India. Islam is not imperialism. How come a Muslim people are ruling over Hindu India? Who gave you the authority to rule over Hindu India? Did the Quran ask you to rule over the Hindus? Your bogus Muslim rule over Hindu India for so many centuries? And you don't expect the Hindu people to hate you? What's wrong with you? Islam is not imperialism. Oh, it's Santa Claus that sends all these oppressive rulers to oppress other people so that they'll hate Islam and hate Muslims. And now I have to do the work of trying to correct the historical record. If you, the Muslims of India, and you, the Muslims of the Balkans, would denounce the Muslim rule over Eastern Europe, over the Balkans, over the Orthodox Christian people, and over the Hindu people of India, denounce it as imperialism, maybe the Hindus will hate you less, maybe the Christians will hate you less. And people will now admire you for speaking the truth and standing up for what is truth and justice. Yes. So I'm sorry, I'm very sorry for the people, the Muslims of Bulgaria, that the Christians hate you so much, but we're doing whatever we can do to try to correct that situation. And I tell you, I went to Belgrade. Was it a year and a half ago? The heart of the Balkans, Belgrade, the most important city in that whole region, Belgrade. And the most important institution in Belgrade is the University of Belgrade. And I went into the Faculty of Law, the massive auditorium, to lecture. Yeah, with my gown and my hat. And do you know what happened? The entire auditorium was packed to capacity. And people were standing in the corridors, they could get no room to come in. These people had never seen me before, and they're all 99.9% Christians. Very few Muslims in the gathering there. And when I was entering the hall, everybody got up. And there was prolonged applause. I never experienced this in my life before. Prolonged applause. That's how they greeted me. And while I was lecturing in the University of Belgrade, they were crying. They were crying. Why? Because I had the courage and the integrity to stand up and call a spade, and to say what the Ottomans did to you was wrong, it was unjust, it was bogus jihad, and I condemned it. Indian scholars, Muslim scholars have to do the same thing for Muslim rule over India. And when you do that, maybe the hatred for Islam would be less. The next question is from Cairo in Egypt. Oh, it's not a question. Congratulations on your Signs of the Time broadcast. It was an amazing session. Thank you, Cairo. The next one is from Toronto in Canada. Oh, he's the one who sent me a photo of a coin machine, which is hand operated. So we'll put that, put that on the screen for you later, inshallah. The next one is from Britain. He says, I need to buy gold and silver coins to protect myself and my family. Where can I buy them? There must be no graven image on the coin. Every coin you see today around the world has a graven image. Why? Because the Lord God has prohibited it. And the satanic world which we now live in today wants to make halal or make permissible everything that the Lord God has made prohibited. There is no graven image on our coins, because where can I buy them? Well, I know that in the Muslim countries, many Muslim countries, you have gold and silver coins being minted. I have a home in Malaysia I have an institution in Malaysia where we're teaching, and I lived in Malaysia for many years. And in Malaysia, they are minting gold and silver coins, yes, with no graven image. Indonesia, they're doing the same thing. You can buy it in Dubai, so many other places you can buy it. I suggest you check on the internet where you can buy gold and silver coins. Any gold and silver coin without a graven image is permissible. You can use it. You can accept it in our market. Okay, we have now from, Yogyakarta in Indonesia wrote to say, I've been to Yogyakarta several times, that they were able to view the lecture. Jhelum in Pakistan, they've sent greetings to us. Another one from Bulgaria. We were viewing from Bulgaria. This is last week's lecture. The stream was perfect. There was no delay of picture or sound. You mentioned that you'll be traveling to a conference. Will you be close to Bulgaria? We'd like to travel to meet with you. I can't say where I am going to be traveling to, but what I'd like you to do for me is every time we travel now, of course, the satanic world in which we now live, it's very dangerous whenever we travel. So do please raise your hands and say a prayer, make a dua, that Allah may make our travel safe for us. Sangre Grande in Trinidad, my own Trinidad, thank you for the lecture. Oh, you answered my question when you answered the question from South Africa. Okay, Sangre Grande. A Hindu viewer from Montrose in Chaguanas, my hometown. And he says, I agree with your views regarding the banking system. Thank you. And I agree with your views concerning what is to come. Oh, this is a Hindu who can see what's coming ahead, and he agrees with me. Another question from South Africa. What do we do with gold and silver if businesses do not accept it? Money has a number of different functions. Number one, money is to be used as a medium of exchange. So in this case, businesses will not accept it, so it cannot function as a medium of exchange. Does money have any other functions? Yes, it does. Money is used as a measure of value. How much should I pay for this? How much should I pay for that? How much should I pay for that? And money has a third function. Money should function as a store of value, to preserve value. Your grandfather died in 1971. And your grandfather left 100 gold coins for you. But you were a baby. So they put the gold coins in a box and they locked it up. And they waited until you had grown up. And then maybe 25, 30 years later, they opened the box and they say, here you are. This is what your grandfather left for you. Because at that age you said, well, I want it now. You were not interested in getting it earlier. When they opened the box and they gave you what your grandfather had left for you, the value was the same. Oh, yes. He left you 100 gold coins, 100 ounces of gold, and you got 100 ounces of gold. If 100 ounces of gold could have bought 100 cattle, at that time, we found that 100 ounces of gold could still buy 100 cattle. At this time, demand and supply remaining constant. So your money had preserved its value. But suppose instead of putting the 100 gold coins in the box, they took the 100 gold coins and they converted it to US dollars. And they said, you know, we can trust this money. Why? Because it says there in the US dollar, it says, in God we trust. So they said, well, we can trust it. So they changed the US dollars, the 100 ounces of gold, to US dollars in 1971. And they put the money in a box and they locked it up. 100 ounces of worth of gold in US dollars. Good. Now let us see whether the US dollar can compare with gold in integrity, or whether it is just as bogus as 9/11. 20, 25, 30 years later, when they opened the box and they handed you the US dollars, and you went in the market to see what is the value now, with the gold, you could have bought 100 cattle. If with one gold coin you could buy a cattle, or maybe a goat, or whatever it is, one gold coin. You found to your horror that with this paper, you can no longer buy 100 cattle. You could only buy 93. Sorry, you can only buy 7, my mistake, apologies. You could only buy 7 cattle. 7? So 93? I have lost 93 gold coins. I have now received from my grandfather only 7 coins. 7 gold coins, the value of 7 gold coins, because the US dollar has lost its value by 93%. Where did that money go? When the value of the money keeps on falling, there is a transfer of wealth taking place. So where did the 93 gold coins go? Malcolm X would be interested, yes, because Malcolm wants to know the truth. But there are others who don't care for the truth. They only care to protect their radio station and protect their television station and protect their newspapers and protect their names. And they call themselves men and women of integrity. Imran Hosein has a message for you. You better wake up if you want to be less than a footnote on the page of history. I'll tell you where it went. The 93% of your wealth has gone, it's been transferred to a part of the world which is getting richer and richer, while Africa gets poorer and poorer. Yes. One part of the world is getting richer and richer because of this monetary system, while the rest of the world is getting poorer and poorer. That's why Africa is so poor. That's why Pakistan and India is so poor. That's why so much of India is so poor, while another part of India is on the gravy train. It's a bogus monetary system. So we keep our gold and silver because we want to protect and preserve our wealth. That's why we keep gold and silver. My answer to you, South Africa, gold and silver function successfully as a store of value, while paper money does not and electronic money will not. Now then, we have a little time left to look at another part of the subject of gold and silver. And this one is going to surprise you. And that is that if we are to convert our wealth into gold and silver, will it be safe? Yes, so long as we can keep the gold and silver will safely and successfully store our wealth, our value for us. So while inflation is ripping off everybody else, you are safe. You are safe. You could take a look at the subject from another perspective. When I was 5 years of age, in 1947, my father bought a motor car so he could take me to school. He was a schoolmaster, now we call principal. Some hill in near to Forest Park there, Mount Pleasant Government School. And because he had a motor car, he would now take me to market on a Saturday morning. So I'm 5 years of age, and I have a little basket there, and I'm going with my father in the market, and he's buying and putting things in the basket and so on. And I saw my father buy in the Shogunus market. I saw my father would buy 100 oranges for $1. You open your eyes very big, eh? Yes, I'm telling you what I saw. 100 oranges for $1. And they put the oranges in a sugar bag, a jute bag, and they put it in the trunk of the car for us. And we have oranges to suck for the whole week. But now you can't buy even one orange with $1. $1 could buy 100 oranges. $1 cannot buy even one orange now. So I asked myself, is it that the oranges are getting sweeter? Is it a superior quality of orange that's becoming so expensive? What is the reason? But when I suck the orange, I find, oh, no, 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 no. The one I used to eat, the suck, so many years ago, those were better oranges. Everything that was in the past tastes better. This is nothing compared to that. The world is rotting. The world is decaying. Everything that was in the past tasted better. And yet, this is worse. This is like garbage, and it's so much more expensive. So it's not something connected with the orange. That I could buy 100 oranges for $1. My father did. And now I cannot buy even one orange for $1. It's not the orange, you dum-dum, it's the money. The money is losing value all the time. And because every time the money loses value, there's a massive, massive transfer of wealth from the unsuspecting, innocent masses to a predatory global elite which wants to rule the world. That's right, they want to rule the whole world by the hook or by the crook, usually by the crook. And they're close to that now. That's why we have to fight back. Every Hindu, every Christian, every Jew, every Buddhist, every Muslim, and even those who do not have a religion but want to live lives of integrity, we've got to fight back. It's better to die as a man than to live as a slave. And so we have to bring back money with integrity. Now I have the sad news. The sad news is, even if you take your wealth, and my cousin, you remember they went into the home and held him up with a gun and took him to the bank, and he had to take out all the money he had, $100,000. I forgot to tell you, it was not 100,000 US dollars. It was 100,000 of our money here in Trinidad and Tobago, which would be about 15,000 US. And poor fella, he has no money now. So in the same way that they can come with a gun and hijack you and take all your money, take you to the bank, can they do the same thing with gold? Yeah, you have to do something to protect your gold. Where can you hide it? Where can you hide it? Well, in the Quran, in Surah Al-Kahf, Surah Al-Kahf of the Quran, he dug a hole and he buried his money in the hole. And then he built a wall on top of the hole to protect the money. So that's one way in which you can protect your money, by hiding it, digging a hole and burying it. But they have the sensors now with which they can come, metal sensors, to check, to see whether you buried your gold somewhere. When the bandits come to raid you, they'll come to check to see where you have your gold hidden away in the house. And with metal sensors, they can probably detect and find it. We have that modern technology now. So it might be a good idea to bury lots of pieces of iron all over your yard, everywhere, so that the metal detectors go crazy with it. Very nice way to deal with them. But I'm not concerned about bandits. I'm concerned about governments. We have a few more minutes today, and I want you to know that governments can come to seize your gold. Yes, this is what is going to happen tomorrow. The same government of India which betrayed the Hindu religion by doing what they did 2 months ago is the same government of India who tomorrow can ban the use of gold in India. You're not allowed to keep gold. You're not allowed to keep gold nugget. They might allow you to keep gold jewelry, but they have to come and check the jewelry to see if it is bona fide jewelry. Otherwise, they'll seize it. Yes, they have the law, and they have the police, and they have the army. So if they make the law and say, you're not allowed to keep gold, you have to give all your gold to the government, what can you do? What can you do? Has it happened before? Well, I have some homework for you to do. In the next few minutes that I have some homework for you to do. This is my book entitled The Prohibition of Riba in the Quran and Sunnah. When you come on March the 12th at the Jama Masjid San Fernando to the launch of this book, you can get a copy of this book. And in this book I mention here, on the 5th of April 1933, this is what Uncle Sam did, the US government. Under executive order of the President of the United States of America on April 5th, 1933, all persons are required to deliver on or before May the 1st of 1933, so you have less than a month in which to do it, all gold coins, all gold bullion, all silver certificates, all gold certificates, all that you own must be delivered to the Federal Reserve Bank or to any branch or agency or any member bank of the Federal Reserve System. And if you do not do it by the 1st of May 1933, the criminal penalty for violation of this executive order is a fine of $10,000 US or 10 years in imprisonment, or both. Or both. Oh, so the government can ban you. You have to turn over the gold to them. And guess what they'll do with the gold? They'll give you paper. They'll give you paper for the gold. So you have to take the paper. And in 1933, 1 ounce of gold was convertible to $20 US. So all the American people had to give up their gold, otherwise you go to jail. The smart Americans shipped their gold to Switzerland. The rest didn't have that sense, so they had to give it to the government. Otherwise you go to jail. That is the United States of America. If they could do it there, they could do it here. And then after Uncle Sam had taken all the gold of the country and converted it to dollars at $20 an ounce, guess what he did? He changed the price of gold from $20 an ounce to $35. Like from $1 for 100 oranges to less than 1 orange for $1. It changed the price of gold by causing the value of the money to go down. So the American people now have gold in their hands, paper in their hands, which if you use that paper to bring it back, buy back your gold, and you're not yet allowed to buy back your gold, huh? They will get 40% less of the gold that they had. The American government ripped off the American people of 40% of their wealth. 40%. It's stealing. And in the Bible, the Lord God has said, thou shalt not steal. The same thing are there, I'm sure, in the Vedas and in the Upanishads. And this is stealing. This is stealing. And so it is dangerous now to keep all your wealth in gold and silver. Dangerous. Because I'm sure, I'm as certain as the sun rises from the east, that in the same way that they banned the 1,000 rupee note and the 500 rupee note in India, tomorrow they're going to ban you from keeping gold. I'm absolutely certain of that. It's coming. That slavery is coming. So do not keep too much gold and too much silver unless you have an army to protect yourself. Because they'll come to seize it. And when they come to seize it, they'll probably convert it to electronic money for you and you're at their mercy. Well then, what to do? Answer, just keep a few gold coins. Keep a few gold coins, maybe a maximum of 40 gold coins, and keep more silver coins, maybe a maximum of 100 silver coins. 100 silver coins would be worth about maybe what, less than 2,000 TT dollars? Yeah, 100 silver coins. So that's not much money to invest in. But at least with one silver coin, you'll be able to buy food for one day. So keep a few gold coins. So if they come to seize your gold, you would not lose everything. They're coming tomorrow to seize it. Keep a few gold coins, don't keep too much. Keep some silver, don't keep too much. Well then, Sheikh, what do we do? Answer, the Prophet said, Allah's blessings be upon him, and only a true prophet could speak like that. Prophet Muhammad, Allah's blessings be upon him. About the end time, and with this we'll end for today. He said, if you have land, hold on to your land. He said, if you have animals, hold on to your animals. So hold on to things which have value, which can be preserved, like land and animals, which is going to be difficult for them to seize. And I pray that Allah, the one God, might protect his servants and protect all those who want to live lives of integrity and who want to stand up for justice and who oppose oppression in the world. Thank you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.